Caitanya Prabhu, daya karo more, toma bina ke doyalu, jagata samsare. Prabhu, daya karo more. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu, Daya Karo More, Toma Bina Ke Doyalu, Jagata Samsare. Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu, Daya Karo More, Madina Ke Doyalu, Jagata Samsare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Gaura Purnima Mahamahotsava ki jai, Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we are very fortunate to have the association of His Holiness Bhakti Vignan Goswami Maharaj at our newly inaugurated ISKCON Cultural Center in Temple. So Maharaj has come to the old temple many times, but the first time to this new temple. How many of you are hearing from Maharaj for the first time? First time. Let me briefly introduce Maharaj. Maharaj is originally from Tashkent, Russia. So Maharaj was born at the time when it was a communist regime. Very tough to practice any kind of spirituality. And Maharaj used to say that we were forced to be atheists. That was the time when Maharaj was there. But during 1980s, Maharaj got introduced to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and that attracted him very much. He started deeply studying Bhagavad Gita. Although he was a scientist, molecular biology scientist, still he got so much attraction to Bhagavad Gita. Then he started deeply studying. Then he joined the ISKCON society and deeply touched by the message of Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj took initiation from His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj, and he took sannyas the year 2001, and he had served in the capacity of GBC for Russia and many other places, the long list of places where Maharaj served as GBC. And Maharaj is also an initiating spiritual master in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Guru Shishya Parampara. Maharaj speaks very extensively on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, and especially his lectures are very much appealing to the intellectual class of devotees. Personally, I really like Maharaj's lectures very much. They are very deep, philosophical, at the same time very relishable. So, I'd like to welcome Maharaj here to our center. Maharaj is giving the association today and tomorrow. So today morning we have this class, and evening also we have the class Bhagavad Gita, and tomorrow morning also Srimad Bhagavatam class. So let's welcome Maharaj by once loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we will read a few verses from the 17th chapter of Adi Lila Sri Caitanya Charitamrita. And I will have chosen to speak because I was given freedom to choose my topic. I have chosen to speak on the topic of Gaya-gamana Lila of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, which was the turning point in his life and in many senses in our own life. When he took initiation from Sri Ishvara Puri. So we'll speak on this Gaya-gamana Lila, but I will first read a couple of verses from Sri Caitanya Charitamrita. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Dvaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jai Jai Sri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Dvaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jai Jai Sri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Dvaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, let's start from the verse number 7. Vayu Vyadi Chali Kaila Prema Prakash, Bhaktagana Laya Kaila Vividha Vilas. Translation. In his youth, the Lord exhibited his ecstatic love of Krishna on the plea of disturbance of the bodily airs. Accompanied by his confidential devotees, he enjoyed various pastimes in this way. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to Ayurvedic treatment, the entire psychological system is conducted by three elements, namely Vayu, Pitta, and Kapha, air, bile, and mucus. Secretions within the body transform into other secretions like blood, urine, and stool, and if there are disturbances in the metabolism, the secretions turn into kapha, mucus, by the influence of the air within the body. This is for those who are preparing for new pandemic of COVID, they should know this. According to the Ayurvedic system, when the secretion of bile and formation of mucus disturb the air circulating within the body, 59 varieties of disease may occur. One such disease is craziness. On the plea of disturbance of the bodily air and metabolism, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu acted as if crazy. Thus, in his school, he began to explain the grammar of verbs through Krishna consciousness. Explaining everything in grammar in relationship to Krishna, the Lord induced his students to refrain from worldly education. For it is better to become Krishna conscious and in this way attain the highest perfectional platform of education. On these grounds, Sri Jiva Goswami later compiled the grammar entitled Harinamamrita Vyakarana. People in general consider such explanations crazy. Therefore, the Lord's purpose in his attitude of craziness was to explain that there is nothing within our experience but Krishna consciousness, for everything may be dovetailed with Krishna consciousness. These pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been very vividly described in the Chaitanya Bhagavata Chaitanya Madhyakanda chapter 1. Text number 8. Tabera Karila Prabhu Gaya-gamana Ishvara Purira Sangye. These pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thereafter the Lord went to Gaya. There he met Ishvara Srila Ishvara Puri. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Gaya to offer respectful oblations to his forefathers. This process is called Pindadan. In Vedic society, after the death of a relative, especially one's father or mother, one must go to Gaya and there offer oblations to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Therefore, hundreds and thousands of men gather in Gaya daily to offer such oblations or Shraddha. Following this principle, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also went there to offer Pinda to his dead father. Fortunately, he met Ishvara in Gaya daily to offer such oblations or Shraddha. Diksha Anantari Hoila Premera Prakash Deshe Agamana Puna Premera Vilas. To his dead father. In Gaya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was initiated by Ishvara Puri, and immediately afterwards he exhibited signs of love of God. He again displayed such symptoms after returning home. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Gaya, accompanied by many of his disciples, he exhibited signs of love of God. He became sick on the way. He had such a high fever that he asked his students to bring water that had washed the feet of Brahmanas. And when they brought it to the Lord, when they brought it, the Lord drank he became sick and was cured. Therefore, everyone should respect the position of the Brahmana as indicated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when neither the Lord nor his followers displayed any disrespect to the Brahmanas. The followers of Lord must be prepared to offer Brahmanas therefore everyone should respect, but preachers of Lord Chaitanya's cult object if someone presents himself as a Brahmana without having the necessary qualifications. The followers of Lord Chaitanya cannot blindly accept that everyone born in a Brahmana family is a Brahmana. Therefore, one should not indiscriminately follow the Lord's example of showing respect to Brahmanas by drinking water that has washed their feet. Gradually, the Brahmana families have become degraded because of the contamination of Kali Yuga. Thus, they misguided people by exploiting their sentiments. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ajanulambita Bhujokana Kavadatu Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamalaya Taksha Vishwambaro Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priya Guru Karunavataro Yantah Pravishya Mama Vachim Imam Prasuptam Sanjivayata Kila Shakti Darak Swadhamna Anyam Shahasta Charana Shravanat Vagadim Pranannamo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhim Svasyastu Vishwasya Kalach Prasidatam Dayantu Bhutani Shivam Mithodya Manascha Vadram Bhajata Tadokshache Aveshyatam No Matir Abhyahaitu Ki Hare Krishna. I am very happy to be back to this beautiful temple. Of course, I am for the first time in this particular building, but I am not for the first time in Bangalore, and I dearly respect and love devotees in Bangalore, so thank you for giving me this opportunity to address you. Because we are preparing ourselves for celebrating Gaur Purnim, which is the festival commemorating the purpose of Lord coming to this Kali Yuga to deliver all of us. Since we are preparing ourselves to this joyous and wonderful event, we are discussing different aspects of Lord's pastimes in the morning before Gaur Purnim. And I have chosen to speak on this Gaya-gamana Lila because, as Srila Prabhupada showed, even in these three purports which we read, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu could fulfill his mission of distributing love of God only when he himself was officially initiated by Ishvara Puri. It is very clearly said in the first verse which we read that Lord Caitanya, before the initiation by Ishvara Puri, before his Gaya-gamana Lila, before meeting with Ishvara Puri and taking mantra from him, he was full of ecstatic love of God. Of course, some people, including his mother, thought that it's some sort of craziness. And his mother was applying some special oil on his head, some Shiva Taila, to bring him back into normalcy. Because sometimes he was displaying some very unusual kind of behavior. But even though he was displaying this completely ecstatic behavior, he was not able, of course he was able, he is always God, but in his Lila, he's showing us the process, the proper way of doing things. He was not able to inflict or infect, let us say, using the pandemic language, infect anyone else by love of Godhead. It's a special kind of infectious disease which is transferable from one person to another person. And Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself advented to this world just for this purpose, to show what is love of God, how beautiful it is, how powerful it is, how enjoyable it is, how joyful it is, and then to start this pandemic of Krishna Prema. This pandemic of Krishna consciousness, there is nothing new about pandemic. Originally it was started by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and he wants this pandemic to spread all over the world, but he shows the proper way of infecting other people or transmitting this craziness into the heart of other people. So he himself was displaying these beautiful symptoms of love of God, and of course sometimes it was very unusual, because sometimes he was beating his wife Vishnupriya on the pretext of being crazy. But in general, as Vrindavan Das Thakur explains in Chaitanya Bhagavata, where this pastime is described in great details, and the Lord lived a very ideal life of a Brahmana. He was teaching his students. He was earning money by teaching students, by getting the free donations for his teaching. And he was displaying the ideal behavior of a Brahmana. And every now and then he would manifest ecstatic symptoms. But again, the point which I want to make is that, to achieve love of God, there is a path. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came himself, and even though he was sometimes displaying this completely spontaneous and unbelievable symptoms of love of God, he nevertheless showed us the systematic way how to attain it. That was his purpose. He's coming as the teacher of love of God in Kali Yuga to explain that love of God is a systematic process. You have to follow a certain pattern to achieve love of God as an inevitable result of this process. Even though love of God is, it cannot be completely placed into some, boundaries of certain process, nevertheless, there is a scientific process. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu, in this Gaya-gamana Lila, explains where should we start, what is the starting point. Where is the starting point of this beautiful journey which will ultimately bring us to the lotus feet of Krishna full of love. Not in the condition of moksha. People, they're seeking for moksha and they say, moksha means that ultimately come to God. But ultimately, we do not want just to come to God. It's not a big deal to come to God. You will come to God, you will look at Him and you will say, yes, bye-bye, I will go to take prasadam. Coming to God is not a big deal. Getting liberation, getting some kind of moksha, living in one planet with God or whatever is not a big deal. It's not such a big achievement. Caitanya Mahaprabhu came and he said, if you want to come to God with something which you can offer to Him. Not just formal, Haribol, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You have my business, I have my business. No, coming to God means I come to God and I want to offer my heart to Him. So how to do this? This is a beautiful journey, how to come to God with heart full of love. How to gradually fill up our empty heart with love by following this process. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu shows himself. And Vrindavan Das Thakur, he is very emphatic. This is the last chapter of his Adi Lila, because Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Bhagavat is completely devoted to the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sankirtan movement, when he started Sankirtan movement. But the last chapter is Gaya-gamana Lila. So before Sankirtan movement, before Lord Chaitanya ventured this Sankirtan movement by coming out from his house from the house of Srivas Pandit and on the streets of Navadvip and distributing love of God, he himself went to Gaya. But before that, Vrindavan Das Thakur makes a very important point. He says that the Lord was leading ideal life of a Brahmana. He was leading an ideal life of a member of Varnashrama society. He was very pure in his life. He was following all the rules and regulations of Smriti Shastra. And Vrindavan Das Thakur, he says that the purpose of this is dual. The first purpose of showing this, that this is the starting point of our journey towards love of God, is to show that, pure life within Varnashrama is very much necessary because it prepares the heart to receive the love. The Lord is ready to give the love, but not anyone can receive the love. If the heart is contaminated, if the heart is dirty, we will not be able to appreciate love. We may even feel sometimes love, but because the heart is dirty, we will think that, no, this is some sentiment which I have. Let me do something more practical. So he says the first purpose of the Lord leading the ideal life of the member of Varnashrama, a Brahmana in this case, the very highly placed Brahmana in his case, is to show that this is a necessary preliminary step towards love of God. But the second purpose of his leading this life is to show that ultimately it's futile. It's important and futile at the same time. It's important because it prepares us to spiritual life. It's not spiritual life itself. Sometimes people think that leading Varnashrama life, being Brahmana or being this or that, it's already spiritual life. It's not spiritual life. It's a regulated, beautifully regulated material life. It's purposeful material life, but its purpose is to come to spirituality. And if this life, however pure, however good and correct, and however sincere, doesn't lead you to spirituality, it's completely useless. Useless Varnashrama. Useless Sanatana Dharma. Because ultimately, is the highest Dharma is Prema Dharma. If this notion doesn't come to you, if you don't really understand it, then everything what you do is useless. And in this Gaya-gamana Lila, the Lord shows this gradual process of coming or this spiritual awakening. When we really understand that, the purpose of life is not to lead very pure life, according to rules and regulations of Varnashrama. The purpose of life is not to be happy. When you live very pure life, you become naturally happy. You're loving yourself, and because you're so loving, you're attracted, so many other people are attracted to you, and the exchange of love makes you happy. But this is not the ultimate purpose of life. You may be very happy living this life, pure life in Varnashrama society, but still, deep down your heart, you will be not satisfied. And different rituals of Varnashrama have a very specific purpose. Ultimately, all the rituals which are recommended in Varnashrama, the purpose of them is to bring you to the meeting with the devotee. And therefore, the whole beginning of this Lila is that Lord Caitanya goes to Gaya to perform Shraddha ceremony. And that's a completely Rajasic ceremony according to Varnashrama system. It's not a very highly, placed thing, but the Lord uses this pretext of going to Gaya to perform Shraddha to show that no matter how you meet with the devotee, the most important, you meet with the devotee. Whatever pretext is. It may be because you want to perform some ceremony for your deceased parents and going to Gaya, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The point is that you have to do all these rituals, but the essence of these rituals, the purpose of all these rituals, is ultimately bring you closer to devotee. So this is a beautiful pastime. The Lord has many disciples, and these disciples are very enthusiastic disciples, very devoted to his master, to his guru. And he goes with this whole entourage of his disciples to Gaya. And he is displaying the natural tendency of a guru to be little proud. I mean, little or not little. But the natural tendency, if you have followers, is to become proud, isn't it? People, there's so much after this gaining more and more followers because it gives them some prestige and some understanding how important I am. Look, I am the leader. And everyone else is my follower. And look how many of them are there. Very impressive crowd. They're all my followers. So he performs this ritual of going to Gaya with many of his disciples and, enjoying sort of this position. And in the middle of this journey, which Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport of the last verse, when he reaches Mandara mountain, and he goes to this Mandara mountain and visiting the temple of Madhusudan, he all of a sudden falls sick. COVID. Corona. Really sick. Much more sick than from an average person from Corona. High fever. Really, really, really high fever. And his disciples are worried. Totally, completely worried. They don't know the reason why all of a sudden he is so sick. And why all of a sudden the fever is so high. And they're trying to bring any remedies, but nothing works. The fever becoming higher and higher and higher. And actually, this whole disease is symbolic. The Lord, by displaying this Lila of getting sick on the way, He's showing us that actually the pride is the disease. And the pride is the disease of fever. When we become proud, we become feverish. And the fever increases and increases and increases because pride is never satisfied. Pride always wants to increase. We always want to increase our causes for pride, and there is no remedy for this. Normal remedy don't work. The only remedy from the disease of pride, from this high fever of pride, is humility. So his disciples are trying to cure him, treating him as the guru, as the master and everything else. But then he himself says, I think there is only one remedy. There is only one medicine which can cure me from this high fever. If you bring me the water which washed the feet of a pure Brahmana. He specifically says pure Brahmana. Not just anyone who is driving rickshaw and, proud of his Brahminical janma. And again, as I said, there is a very, whatever the Lord performs in his Lila, in his life, he is doing it for a purpose. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu says that you may lead a very pure life of Varnashrama follower. But then the problem of this will remain because, the life of a follower of Varnashrama will make you proud. Brahmanas are proud, Kshatriyas are very proud, Vaishyas are extremely proud, and Shudras are very arrogant. When you perform your dharma, when you do all the rituals, the tendency is there. You become very proud. I'm so pure. I'm so good. I perform my duties so perfectly. Look at me, So this pride is there. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he shows this, and he says this pride is the fever. That's the disease which we all have. And the cure of this disease is humility. And humility, what humility does, please listen very carefully because it's very important. Humility opens our heart. The pride closes our heart. When we are proud, we physically can feel how our heart is closed and we look down at everyone else. We are not really receptive to accept something higher because there is nothing higher. We are the highest. The highest achievement is already there. I'm so pure, I'm so good. But humility makes our heart soft. And the soft heart is the receptive heart. The proud heart is the heart which rejects anything higher. The proud heart is the heart which does not allow us to go further in our journey. If we want to know the truth, we have to be ready to admit our ignorance. And it means to become humble. And Brahmanas, who are pure Brahmanas? Pure Brahmanas are those people who know the truth. Only those, why they are called Brahmanas? Because they're supposed to know Brahman. Because they're supposed to know the greatest of all. So the water which washed the feet of a Brahmana is the symbol of this thirst which is there among our material life, the thirst to receive the higher truth. If this thirst is not there, and subsequent humility, if the subsequent humility doesn't come to our heart, it means we're not ready to start our spiritual life. Spiritual life means I am not satisfied with whatever is there. I need to know more, and for that, and because I need to know more, it means that I'm ignorant. And because I'm ignorant, I have to become humble in front of those who have this higher knowledge. This is a very important first step. Of course, the first step, the preliminary step is to lead very nice and pure life according to Dharma Shastra. It's important, there's no doubt about it. But then, this pure life of Dharma Shastra, of good person, good sattvic person, will have to awaken the thirst for higher knowledge. And with this thirst for higher knowledge, the humility also comes into your heart. So it's very interesting. The Lord says, please bring me the water from the lotus feet of a Brahmana, of a pure Brahmana. And it definitely reminds us the past time when Lord Krishna also became sick in Vrindavan. And Narada Muni became very worried. Lord Krishna had terrible headache. And he was suffering from this headache. And Narada Muni said, what can cure you, my dear Lord? He said, the dust from the lotus feet of my devotees can only cure my headache. And of course, we know that nobody wanted to give the dust from their lotus feet to the Lord. And when Narada Muni came to Gopis, the Gopis said, all our dust is yours. No problem. We will scrape a lot of dust. Let us go to hell. Let us, Krishna, be happy. No problem. We are not caring about us. So here, by more or less reenacting this pastime, also Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us. He is teaching us that humility means to accept somebody who is pure, who is a devotee, who is pure devotee, as higher than you. To understand the power of devotion. So he is displaying this pastime to teach us that this is the starting point of real spiritual life. Humility is the starting point when we appreciate the power of devotion and power of knowledge, because devotion means knowledge, definitely. So the Lord comes. Vrindavan Das Thakur explains that after this pastime, when this pastime is over, miraculously he is cured. For many days he was sick with this very high fever, dangerously high fever, and then he drinks the water and he says, oh, I'm okay, let's go. So miraculously he is cured from this disease, and he goes to Gaya, and he reaches Gaya, and in the outskirts of Gaya he first takes the snan in Brahmakund and makes oblations to his forefathers. And then it's very interesting. He comes to Gaya, and he comes to Chakravena, the place where the lotus feet of the Lord are imprinted. When the Lord stepped down on the head of Gaya-sura, and the imprinted his lotus feet there. And what he sees, what is the first impression? After being humble, he first sees the grandeur of the worship of the Lord. He's very much impressed by this. The Brahmanas are chanting mantras, and the Brahmanas are applying sandalwood paste on the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Brahmanas are offering the garlands of the flowers to the lotus feet of the Lord, and everyone is this very beautiful, joyful atmosphere which is there when we perform real Vedic rituals. Vedic rituals are beautiful. The chanting mantras are so majestic, and all these beautiful rituals, offering some flowers, some sandalwood paste, and everyone becomes joyful. So the Lord, because his heart is opened, his heart is opened during this humiliating pastime of drinking charanamrita from the lotus feet of Brahmana. His heart is open, and then he takes the emotional content of this Vedic ritual. Sometimes we sit in this Vedic ritual, especially these yagyas which are performed by, not very qualified ISKCON Brahman. Sorry. Because in ISKCON we're not very good in all these yagyas. We're only good in one yagya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everything else is just for pro forma sake. Anyway, so, sometimes we are present in these rituals and we don't understand the essence of these rituals. We only, performing some mechanics of these rituals. We're performing some external, mechanics of the ritual, whereas the essence of the ritual is to impress upon us how great is God. To impress upon us, to give us this emotion of grandeur and beauty of God. This is the emotional content of the ritual. And if the ritual is performed properly, you will become impressed. There will be very deep samskara, how beautiful it is, how beautiful is the Lord. It's amazing. He left his imprint of his lotus feet, and for thousands and thousands of years, non-stop, the Brahmanas constantly chant his glories, being at his lotus feet and serving his lotus feet by all these ingredients of offering fruits and offering flowers and offering sandalwood paste. In one sense, Vedic ritual is very natural. It's very simple. You offer just some fruits. Like today somebody came to me and brought me some fruits from Shalagram Shila. Take these fruits from Shalagram Shila. It's very natural, some fruits, Lord doesn't ask you to, like, yesterday, Ravi Kirti showed me this Nityananda Baba who is sitting on the golden throne and was all clad in gold and everything else. Lord doesn't say, worship me with gold. He says, Patram Pushpam Palam Tayam, just one fruit, one leaf, something like this. But if you do it properly, then you understand the grandeur of God. He's so great, and he's accepting my offering, and I feel he's accepting my offering. And of course, the mantras of the Vedas, they give you this understanding of this. And the Brahmanas, the Lord Caitanya is there. He's visiting this place where the imprint, the footprint of the lotus feet of the Lord is there. And the Brahmanas are chanting and glorifying the lotus feet of the Lord. The Brahmanas are saying, She, Lakshmi, holds this lotus feet of the Lord as the most dear to her life. The goddess of fortune, who is, the goddess of all the opulences. The goddess of everyone is seeking the favor of goddess Lakshmi, and she's humbly worshipping these lotus feet. And Lord Shiva, he brings these lotus feet and closes them to his bosom. He just, takes them and worships them. And Bali enjoys them when the Lord puts, Bali Maharaja, powerful Maharaja, enjoys them when the Lord puts them to his head. So these brahmanas, they are glorifying again and again and again the lotus feet, the power of the lotus feet of the Lord. How precious it is. And the same Lord, he came and he left this lotus feet to us. We have the same opportunity as Lakshmi Devi, have the same opportunity as Lord Shiva, have the same opportunity as Lord Brahma, who took the water from which washed the lotus feet of the Lord in his Kamandalo, and this water became Ganga. So the Brahmanas, they're glorifying and again and again and again the power, the purifying power of the lotus feet of the Lord. And Lord Caitanya sees how sincerely they worship this lotus feet of the Lord, and he is overwhelmed. And this is for the first time. Vrindavan Das Thakur says, for the first time, the ecstatic symptoms come to him. How come for the first time? Before that, he was already, crazy Nimai. He was already doing some crazy things, teaching grammar in a very crazy way. Everything is the Lord, nothing else is there. No. Because it's bona fide. Because he shows systematically what is the step by step. You open your heart by humility. You go to a holy place. You meet with some transcendental manifestation of the Lord in the holy place. In this particular holy place of Gaya, this is the Vishnupad, the feet of the Lord. And then you see how others glorify the Lord, and then you feel the emotions. The emotions which they feel, which are actually stored in the holy places, being reflected in your pure heart or receptive heart. So that's what happened. That's what's supposed to happen with us when we go to pilgrimage. When we go to Vrindavan, when we go to Mayapur, when we go to Gaya, any other place, when we go to different tirthas. Of course, we have to understand that the purpose of going there is to receive the glimpse of the love towards the Lord, which is stored in this particular place. I was in Udupi now, and I met some, very young devotee. Maybe he's present here, I don't know. He didn't know who I am, but he started telling me that he's aspiring for Lokanath Maharaj, and he takes initiation and this and that, and then he says, I'll go to Yatra. I said, where are you going to Yatra? He said, I will go to one, I don't remember the place. He said, it's very beautiful Shiva temple, and there Nandi is growing. The stone Nandi is growing and growing. I will go there. The purpose of Yatra is not to go to some place where some miracle takes place. It's okay if you need miracles, no problem. Go there, strengthen your faith by miracles. But actually the purpose of Yatra is not this. The purpose of Yatra is to receive the glimpses of love which are there. Those people who worship the lotus feet of the Lord in these places, their worship, their emotions, they are stored there. They are in the ether of these places. They saturate these places, and we go there and gratefully receive this gift of spiritual emotions there. And Lord Chaitanya shows. And therefore, Vrindavan Das Thakur says, for the first time, he experiences the real spiritual emotions. Because for the first time, he opens his heart, in his Lila, of course. And for the first time, he shows, this is what it is. I go there as a humble pilgrim. And as a humble pilgrim, I try to respect everyone who is there and receive what they have in their heart. And the Lord Chaitanya, all of a sudden, all the hairs in his body stood on end. And the tears started flowing like Ganga river. And all the brahmanas, they look at him and they say, who is that? And he's so beautiful. He's crying and crying and crying. And, they look at him and they also start crying. So this is how it is. He becomes very impressed by the lotus feet of the Lord. And he says, this is my goal. He has this first experience in the sense that experience which will become the goal of his life. Because before that, what was the goal of his life? He was displaying his Pandit Lila, his Vyakarana Lila. He was teaching Vyakarana and showing other people. So his goal of life was to know the Vedic knowledge. For the first time, he shows the goal of life is the lotus feet of the Lord. I want to achieve the lotus feet of the Lord because just being present next to them, I feel so blissful. I feel so immensely blissful. And at this very moment, please listen very carefully because this is the description, the important description of the dynamic of spiritual life. And this very moment, when he is crying at the lotus feet of the Lord in Gaya, at this very moment, Ishvara Puri shows up at the same place. Krishna brings Ishvara Puri at this very moment when the Lord needs him the most. And the Lord looks at Ishvara Puri, and of course he knows Ishvara Puri. He met with Ishvara Puri before in Navadvip. Ishvara Puri spent almost 1 month in Navadvip, couple of weeks at least in Navadvip, staying in the house of Nandanacharya, and he had some interaction and he took some prasadam at Lord Chaitanya's home. And Lord Chaitanya, by bidding farewell to him, he said, sometime in the future I will meet with you again. So at this moment of time, when he's so overwhelmed with the spirituality, with the flow of spiritual emotions which are coming to him from this chanting of the Vedic hymns of the Brahmanas and from this worship from these Vedic rituals, at this very moment, Ishvara Puri comes to this place, and Lord Chaitanya looks at him, and he says, now I understand everything. Now I understand why did I come here. I came here not to perform Shraddha ceremony, which I thought I'm coming for this. I came here not even to see the lotus feet of the Lord. The real purpose of my coming here is to see you. Because where your lotus feet is there, then the lotus feet of the Lord is there. Tirtha Kurvanti Tirthani, he chants this verse from first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Yudhishthira Maharaj says that, whenever pure devotee is there, then the Lord is there. The Lord is where the pure devotee is. And why I said it's so important to see these coincidences, of course, we know there's no coincidences. Even in our life, there is no coincidence. Everything has some purpose. Everything has some purpose to teach us. Moreover, there is no coincidence in the Lord's life. So the teaching here is very important. When the sincere desire to worship the Lord through the encounter with some manifestation of the Lord, which are there in this world, when this desire even if it's a glimpse of sincere desire, a little spark of sincere desire, when this sincere desire comes to your heart, then the Lord arranges your meeting with your spiritual master. He sends you the spiritual master through which you can solidify this desire. But the desire should come first. The sincere desire that, I'm not satisfied with whatever offering this world can give to me. I can only be satisfied if I have some transcendent truth, some higher truth, some spiritual truth, some spiritual experience. And at the same time, some spiritual experience is coming. I remember, it's very interesting, in my life, in my not very, exemplary life, it also like this, I remember very much when I was utterly frustrated. I was doing, as Suvarna Gorohari said, molecular biology. I only remember about this when somebody introduces me. Otherwise, I already forget it long ago. So I was doing this. I was more or less, it was reenactment of the, early Lila of Nimai Pandit when he was displaying his scholarly Lila. I was displaying my pastime Lila, of my scientific Lila. I was trying to find the truth by studying science, but I was so utterly frustrated because at one point I understood very clearly that the study of science will not reveal the truth to me. I just understand it's a scam. It's a big scam. Everyone is trying to, to pose or to pretend that this is the way to know the truth. No, they don't know the truth. Recently I listened to some scientific lecture, and the scientist said that the beauty of the science is that all the mistakes of the science are very practical. Or something like this. He said something really ridiculous. And at that point of my life, I didn't feel that this is the way to know the truth. And we all know instinctively, deep in the heart, we know I'm born to know the truth. I have to know the truth. I have to know the higher truth. And in the pursuit of this, in the wrong pursuit of this higher truth, I may go this Lila or that Lila. I may study Sanskrit or I may study molecular biology, but this is all wrong. The real thing is that to understand that I should know the higher truth, and the higher truth can only be revealed to myself. I cannot, by my own endeavors, I cannot find the higher truth. And this is exactly what happened when Lord Caitanya found himself in front of this imprints of, in front of Vishnupada in Gaya, in front of the imprint of Vishnu's lotus feet. He felt the Lord revealed himself, and at this very moment, the desire to serve the lotus feet appeared in his heart. As Vrindavan Das Thakur says, at this very moment, the desire to serve his own lotus feet appeared in the heart of the Lord. To show us that he's the Lord himself. He is enacting this pastime for us to understand what is necessary to proceed in this spiritual journey. And he shows that this desire to worship the lotus feet of the Lord and to experience this spiritual experience which is accompanied by the worshipping lotus feet of the Lord appeared in the heart of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at this very moment, Ishvara Puri came, and the puzzle became all of a sudden solved. Lord Chaitanya understood everything. Of course, he knew everything from the beginning, but in his pastime, he said, now I understand everything. Now I understand why I met you before, but didn't appreciate you before so much. I was not ready to surrender to your lotus feet. Yes, I saw you, yeah, nice, very nice. Nice sadhu, Hare Krishna. No problem. Come to my home, I will feed you with some prasad. Not yet ready. But this process of opening the heart through humility, through going to a holy place, through having some sort of spiritual experience, and then the spark of desire to serve, then only the spiritual master comes. Because the purpose of spiritual master is to receive your service, is to ignite and to fan the spark of desire to serve. By giving you the opportunity to serve, by giving you the mission to serve, by giving you the, by giving you all the facilities to serve. So, like we build this beautiful temple, what it is? It's just, for us the opportunity to serve. The Lord doesn't need this temple, He has so many temples. In every village in India, you have 5 temples. Why do we need one more? Just because we need to serve. We need to serve the way we can serve the Lord. And Ishvarapuri comes there, and the Lord becomes overwhelmed, and he says, now I know why I'm here in Gaya. Because you are here, and because I want to meet with you. So he goes to Ishvarapuri, and he speaks with Ishvarapuri, and he enjoys some rasa. And actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, who is commenting on these verses of Caitanya Bhagavat, he says that, unless one is fed up with Vishta Vishaya Rasa. Vishta means stew, Vishaya means sense enjoyment, and Rasa means rasa, the taste. He says, unless one is fed up with this Vishta Vishaya Rasa, the beautiful taste of the stool, of material enjoyment, he is not ready to receive the taste for spiritual rasa. To appreciate spiritual rasa, to understand what is spiritual rasa and how valuable it is, you have to first turn away from this material rasa and material enjoyments. And actually, the pilgrimage, going to the holy place, is a very good way to get out from the vicious circle of your, normal life, so to speak. When you go in the morning, take your car and go in the morning for 2 hours in the traffic of Bangalore to your office, and then spend, 8 hours in the office and go 2 hours back. And so for that, pilgrimage is there to take you out from this vicious circle of your so-called normal life and give you some spiritual experience. And if you appreciate this spiritual experience, if the real appreciation of spiritual experience is there, then the spiritual master comes to you and says, you're ready. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu meets with Ishvarapuri, and he is becoming convinced. And then, the next day, the very next day, Lord Caitanya is still there in Gaya. The very next day, Ishvarapuri himself comes to the dwelling of Lord Caitanya. And he comes to the dwelling of Lord Caitanya when Lord Caitanya is cooking prasadam for himself. He started cooking some rice and some sabji for himself. I don't know how he did it, but he was doing this. And at this very moment, Ishvarapuri knocks at the door and says, may I come in? And Caitanya Mahaprabhu says, yes, this is the most beautiful moment. I just cooked prasadam, please take and, take the prasadam. And he said, Ishwarapuri says, if I take the prasadam now, what will you eat? And he said, no problem, I will cook myself again. And Ishwarapuri said, no need to cook again. You share it, half by half. You cooked enough, give me half and leave half for you. Ishwarapuri actually is making a test. He's testing Lord Caitanya. You said you want to serve. Okay, let's see. You're hungry. You're ready to take your meal. Let's see how you behave. He comes to you and he tests your sincerity. How sincere you are to serve. And Lord Caitanya says, no need. I will cook myself, no problem. I will cook again prasadam. Please take everything which is there. And Ishwarapuri, he eats everything till the single grain of rice. Nothing left. And of course, Lord Caitanya puts the sandalwood paste on his forehead and garland and serves his lotus feet, and he passes the test. He gives everything which is there with him, to him. And then Vrindavan Das Thakur, very interestingly, he says that at this moment, while Lord Caitanya was worshipping Ishwarapuri by applying sandalwood paste on his forehead and worshipping his lotus feet, at this moment, Ramadevi, Lakshmi Devi herself cooked prasadam for the Lord. So he didn't miss much. Ramadevi herself, she cooked prasadam and the Lord took and he partook the prasadam which was cooked in the meantime. But he showed that he's sincere. I'm ready to serve. I'm there to serve. I'm not for myself. I'm not cooking for myself. I'm doing it for my spiritual master. So next day, the Lord Caitanya himself goes to Ishwarapuri and he says, please give me Diksha mantra. And it's very interesting also, one more little detail, which is also very significant. When the Ishwarapuri himself first come to him to test him and to taste prasadam cooked by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he enters his door, and while entering the door, he's little, drunk with love of God. He is not completely normal, his head is reeling, he's like this. His ecstatic emotions is there, overwhelming his heart, and he's chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's very interesting, because first Ishwarapuri gave him first initiation, initiating him into this Hare Krishna mantra. And he himself came to the Lord by chanting the names of the Lord and showing how beautiful it is. He himself comes. So when it comes to, to the first initiation, then, the initiative may be with the spiritual master. He comes to his disciple and he says, come on, let's take this holy name of the Lord. But then Lord Caitanya himself, the very next evening, he goes to Ishwarapuri. He bows down to his lotus feet and he says, please give me Diksha mantra. Please give me your mercy in the form of Diksha mantra. Because what is Diksha mantra? Diksha mantra is the mercy, given to the disciple, anugraha. It is explained by Srila Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha that the Diksha mantra is nothing but anugraha, the concentrated form of the mercy of the Lord given to the disciples through the lips of the spiritual master. So he asks for the initiation, And Ishwarapuri says, do you have recommendation from your temple president? No, he doesn't say it. He says, no problem, I'll give you initiation. I'll give you mantra. Please listen very carefully this mantra. And he gives this 10-syllable mantra, which is mantra about Krishna in Vrindavan and his relationship with gopis. He gives this 10-syllable mantra to Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And again, very significant point in the whole description. Well, I should finish now, right? Okay. So that in the next couple of days, 1 or 2 days, Lord Caitanya is still there in Gaya. And he sits down and he starts chanting his Gayatri mantra. And he chants his Gayatri mantra silently, as it is supposed to be. In his dhyan, in his deep meditation, he's meditating on Gopijana Vallabha, on the beautiful form of the Lord as Gopinath, as the master of the gopis. And total, complete. It is actually said that even before that, Vrindavan Das Thakur said that when in Gaya, after meeting with Ishwarapuri and receiving some mercy from Ishwarapuri, different sort of feelings overwhelmed Lord's heart. Sometimes he would feel Vatsalya ras towards the Lord. Sometimes he would feel very acute Dasya ras and he wanted to serve the Lord. Sometimes he would feel Sakya ras. Sometimes he would feel Madhurya ras. Different rasas reflecting, not a single rasa. Different rasa were reflecting in his pure heart, because his heart was already pure and was capable, restored the ability to reflect the transcendental emotions. But then when he sits down and repeats the mantra, repeats this 10-syllable mantra given to him by Ishwarapuri, the acute sense of separation overwhelms him. Where is my Lord? Where is my Lord? Where is my Lord? He's so beautiful. He so beautifully graces his devotees. He is performing his eternal pastimes in Vrindavan by dancing rasa dance with the gopis. And here I am. What am I doing here? What am I doing here in this place? What am I doing here? Deprived of his association. I need to go to him, because separation means the impetus to meet. Separation means, if you're overwhelmed with this Vipralamba, it means that you desire the meeting. Vipralamba nourishes your desire to meeting, and he's overwhelmed. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, while commenting on this pastime, he says, this is the mood which Lord Caitanya brought to us to experience. We have to learn how to experience Vipralamba rasa, or Vipralamba mood, the feeling of separation with the Lord. And this is why the mantra is given to us. We have to try to experience this mood of separation. What am I doing here? I still didn't see Krishna. So many years after, I still didn't see Krishna. I still didn't have darshan. I remember, once I went, many times I went to different astrologers, very highly qualified astrologers, and they all said, you will have darshan of Krishna. And still I didn't have darshan of Krishna. Recently somebody else said, when you're 80 years old, you will have darshan of Krishna. So some hope is still there. It's gradually vanishing, but the point is that, the desire to meet with Krishna has to achieve certain peak certain level of intensity. The Lord is not so cheap. He is not coming to you just by your demand. Oh yeah, let me see you. Okay, nice, no problem. It doesn't work like this. The desire has to be so acute, so much so that the tears on your eyes will flow. Oh my Lord, I want to see you. Oh my Lord, what am I doing here? My heart is empty because of this separation with you. And, totally overwhelmed by this feeling of separation. Lord Caitanya says, I'm going to Mathura. That's it. Enough for this Gaya Lila and other Lilas. Now there is only one Lila, only Vrindavan Lila. No other Lilas. And he's crying and crying and crying. His disciples are coming to him and they say, Master Guru Maharaj, we have to go back to Navadvip. He says, I'm not going to Navadvip. I'm not going back to my family. I'm not going back to the samsara. My only goal in life is Mathura. And he starts crying. And disciples, they try to console him and say, no problem, you will, no problem. When the next vacation is there, you will go to Vrindavan. Now do your duty. He said, no, forget it. No job anymore, no duties anymore. My heart is there in Vrindavan. And he says, you go back to Navadvip. I'm not going. I'm going to Mathura. My way is different. I'm going to Mathura. And early in the morning, without saying a word to anyone, he starts to Mathura while chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. And he travels for some distance, but all of a sudden he hears the voice from the sky. And the demigods say, it's not time for you to go to Mathura. The time will come when you will go to Mathura, no problem. But now, do your duty. Now, go back to Bangalore and distribute books. Literally, that's what they said to Lord Caitanya. They said, you came to propagate this movement of love of God. You came to start this Sankirtan movement. Didn't you remember it? Why you're going this? Now you will go to Mathura and you will drown yourself in Yamuna and, and you will never fulfill the mission for which you came to this material world. You came to this material world to overwhelm, to overflood all this material world with love of Godhead. Go to Navadvip and start your Sankirtan movement. We are your humble servants. The demigods from the sky, they say, we are your humble servants. Maybe not so humble at this moment of time, because we want to remind you what is the real purpose of your advent to this earth. Your real purpose is to bring this beautiful Sankirtan movement to the earth so that everyone would start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. And Lord Caitanya, of course, being obedient to this Akashvani, ethereal voice, he turns back and he goes to Navadvip with his disciples, but he is a different person now. Before that, he was a great scholar Nimai, the pride of Navadvip, and now he is Bhavuk Nimai. He is completely transformed, he is humble, he is feeling separation with the Lord, and he is ready to serve everyone whom he meets. And this complete transformation, miraculous transformation, impresses everyone. And by this miraculous transformation, Lord Caitanya actually teaches us what does it mean to preach. To preach means to experience oneself and these different moods of spiritual love, to understand the depths of these experiences and try to transmit the depths of this experience to the hearts of other people. Because this is the only way to correct or to improve or to purify the polluted hearts of the people of Kali Yuga. Little town of Navadvip, which is described elaborately by Vrindavan Das Thakur in the beginning of Caitanya Bhagavata, is a sample, is a model of the whole Kali Yuga society. And nobody was impressed by Advaita Acharya in Navadvip. Although he was so learned, they were respectful to him, but nobody was impressed by him. Advaita Acharya is the powerful incarnation of the Lord. He couldn't preach Krishna consciousness. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came. He couldn't do anything unless he took initiation from Ishvara Puri, was overwhelmed by this feeling of separation with the Lord, and came back as Bhavuk Nimai, as Nimai who is experiencing Bhav, experiencing love of God at every moment of his life. And then his pastime of preaching and spreading this Sankirtan movement starts. And we are all beautiful fruits of this pastime. We are all result of his emotions, which are still raging in his heart. And we are receiving these raging emotions, and in this way getting the purpose in our life. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.